Hey, what's up? Adeel Afzal here from VFX Studio, and welcome back to another very exciting tutorial. Today, we're going to be taking a look at creating some cool sci-fi weapon effects. So let's go and take a look at what we're going to be creating you. Alright, so I've got some footage here. Drop that into a new comp. Now, I'm going to go ahead, move forward to right before the gun kicks. Back, I like to put my muzzle flashes. Then we're gonna create a new solid now. I'm going to go ahead and make a white solid, and we'll call this muzzle flash. So we'll shut the eye switch off, and we'll take the pen tool, and we'll come in here. And we just want to draw a sort of a generic muzzle flash shape. Now I want to trim this down to a single frame, so we'll grab these, shrink it down so it's just a single frame, just like that, okay? Okay, so this looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and hit F and bring up the feather properties for the mask, and let's just feather it. Then we'll come over here, the effects and presets. I'm gonna type in factorial noise, and let's drop that onto our solid, and this is gonna add a nice fractally noise. We can turn up the complexity of it. Maybe we'll set it to dynamic progressive. You guys know I like to do that. Invert it, add a little contrast. Maybe turn the scale up and turn the detail up. Now we can move the fractal noise effect by grabbing this interior icon and just kind of finding a nice spot for it. Let's set the blend mode to none. So clean up the edges from being a little faded now for the settings here, you know. Now let's add another effect called radial fast blur. Let's set it to brightest. Now we want to make sure that they're parallel. So let's pull this back in line with the back of the gun. So we want to make sure that looks like it's going the right direction. But now I'm going to add some colorization using our color vibrance effect. So we'll type in vibrance and we'll take the VC color vibrance effect and drop that in there. So right away, this is looking pretty sci-fi-ish. Now I like to turn on the fill empty background and then set the whole layer to screen, okay? So I think this looks pretty good. Now another thing I might do is duplicate this and put one right here in the beginning. I'm going to select the mask and delete it. Then I'm going to hide the layer. And I'm going to draw my own mask shape around the interior of this gun. So I think that's pretty cool. And then what I might do is duplicate it one more time, slide it over, and then take that whole mask and maybe just kind of shift it forward a bit. turn the brightness down. We're sort of just trying to create like a residual sort of flash. Now I want to add one of our shockwave elements. Drop it into our comp and we'll set the transfer mode to screen. Now I want to make the middle a little less distinct. So let's take the ellipse tool and just draw a simple shape around the core and then feather it and then subtract it and go feather a little bit more. So this is the basic idea. Might scale this up a touch and already this is looking really good. And we'll also take our VC color vibrance effect, drop that onto our shockwave element. So we'll slide this. Let's change the color to blue. Okay, so let's go and take a look.
All right, so that's looking pretty good.
Add these sparks into the comp. Slide it over a bit, set position. And set layer blending mode to screen. And trim the area. And animate opacity to look fading down slowly effect. That looks pretty cool and realistic ski-fi VFX. Alright, so these are our visual elements. But I also want to add some cool distortion effects. Let's add a new adjustment layer and a couple of the effects. I've been using the ripple effect, throw that on there, and let's just turn the radius up so we can kind of see this is a cool deform effect we could turn it to. Symmetrical, turn up the height. Maybe turn the speed up, that maybe the width a little bigger, so depending on the radius, something like that. And so what we can do is align this with the gun. So let's just trim the layer down. Set keyframe on wave height to animate. Put ripple and shockwave layer below the muzzle flashes layer. That looks pretty cool. Let's create one more interesting thing. Duplicate shockwave layer and add polar coordinate Fs. Set interpolation value 100%. Alright, now it's looked like linear shockwave. Set the rotation and position as it is. Set the rotation and position as it is. Again, duplicate this layer and flip. Here's a really cool way to... That looks pretty cool.
Create that sort of plasma type of weapon. So let's create a solid, and we'll call this plasma.
I'm going to do is add the ramp effect. And they're going to add the colorama effect. And let's change the output to ramp gray, nice, and then we'll turn the cycle repetition up. I'm not sure. Let's do like 4, and then we'll go to the input phase and animate the phase shift, and we'll alt-click.
On it, we'll type in time. times -300, so just creates a little.
Bit of an animation. We're going to add a curves adjustment just to dim it out a bit. And then we're going to add the CC cylinder effect. So check this out. I'm going to rotate this set -90 and then rotate on the X. Actually, maybe on the Y we'll rotate it this way. It will screen it back on top here. So now you see where this is going. So this is... That looks pretty cool. Add VC color vibrance, adjust it depending on you scenes. Really cool now. Taking a copy of it, duplicating it, going to the scale, scaling it in a bit, little bit lower so you can kind of see just those two copies together. So we'll take these two copies and we'll pre-compose them. So we'll select them, hold down Shift, choose Layer Pre-Compose, which is just off the screen, and again. And we're going to add the glass effect again. CC glass, and for this effect, we're going to choose the plasma layer as our source. Then we're going to take glass effect, adjust CC glass properties value according to the scenes. That looks pretty cool and realistic. SC5 VFX show you just the basic idea behind that so you can kind of start looking at ways of creating your own. So again, I was trying to encourage you guys to experiment and play around with different ideas. I'm just trying to give you enough of the idea so that it makes sense. My name is Adeel Afzal. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next time.